obviously we wanted to see a Pistons win, but 11 straight losses. This one to the Toronto Raptors. Apparently, the Toronto Raptors broke like a franchise record in points and assists tonight. So Pistons are breaking records. It's just the other teams are, breaking them. But what was your thoughts of tonight's game, Lance?
Real quick, we were on the Pistons Pulse podcast earlier this week.
Mm-hmm.
I could actually almost say, 6 days ago. And I stupidly said the Detroit Pistons would get 2 wins out of the next 5 games. We have, I think, 2 games left from the 5 games we were talking about. And I think I said Atlanta, and I want to say Toronto was the other one I was wrong on both. I mean, it didn't even matter if Trae Young played in the game, which he didn't. And the Pistons just looked terrible. And they looked terrible again tonight. I was so bored with this freaking game. I was agitated with everything that was going on. I'm just so tired of watching it. I actually took a nap during the third quarter with about, I think, like 5 minutes left in the third quarter. I was like, dude, I could get a good 20 minutes in. I'm just going to take a nap. Fell asleep on the floor. I didn't even bother putting the game on my TV. I didn't bother putting it on my laptop. I watched this garbage on my cell phone. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to torment myself even more by watching it on my cell phone. I'm going to strain my eyes. I don't even care who scores. I don't want to see it. I just did it for the podcast. It was terrible. Like I said, I was frustrated, agitated, bored, didn't want to watch it. I hated it. I hated it. This is by far, I don't know about you, but this to me, this is rock bottom for the Pistons seasons right now, losing to the Toronto Raptors. Scotty Barnes deserved Rookie of the Year based on this game. I don't care what anybody says, dude. It was just a crap fest, man. But what are your thoughts on it?
I thought that the first quarter kind of told me where the game was going to go. They had 4 turnovers, and they scored 9 points off of those turnovers. And then you look at the box score. If you did watch the game, they had 17 again tonight. Seems like every time you look at a box score for a Pistons loss recently, it's like 16 to 17 turnovers. But getting back to the game, I thought that I was excited because I saw the starting lineup, right? I see the tweet from James Edwards. Jaden Ivey starting. I think a lot of Pistons fans are like, finally, Jaden Ivey starting. Let's see what him and Cade Cunningham can do. And it just got really ugly really fast. This was probably the worst game so far under Monty Williams' tenure. This was a team where they just didn't try, man. Like, they just quit. They gave up. Like, they didn't defend. They made really just stupid passes that turned into turnovers. I hate to be hard on the team, but 11 straight losses, there's not a lot of positivity that I can say, hey, this guy's coming back, it'll be fine. I just thought the game as a whole was bad. I don't know what they need to do. I don't know if it's a trade. I don't know if it's, I know we'll get into earlier with Troy Weaver. I just don't know, man. Like, this shouldn't happen. You shouldn't have to go through 4 years of losing and you're just historically bad. Like, I don't get it.
Yeah, I'm tired of making excuses for the Pistons. I'm tired of saying, oh, well, when this team gets healthy, once we get Monte Morris back, once we get Bojan, once Killian takes a bench role, all this other crap, I'm done saying it. It does not matter. Like, Bojan and Monte Morris, they're going to make a difference when they come back. It's not going to be that big of a difference. This team, I do not get it, dude. I don't know if they're not gelling. I don't know if it's coaching. I don't know if the fit isn't good. I don't know what it is. I don't know what to put the finger on, but it's just a bad team. And this, on paper, this looks like the best roster they've had in the last 3 or 4 years, right? Like, It looks like the best, like, talent, but for some reason, it does not translate to wins or even competitive games, man. Like, Cade looks frustrated. Jaden Ivey, he played decently for getting his first start. No turnovers, but 3 for 10 from the field, 0 for 5 from the 3-point line. I'll give him credit. He only had one foul, and the Pistons did actually get to the line more than the Raptors. But overall, it was just bad. Are there any positives that you can think of from this game?
I think a positive, if you're looking individually, Jaden Ivey had 9 points, no turnovers. I think he's still coming back from that illness he had. Now, whether Pistons fans want to admit that he was sick or not, I was talking to a friend of the show, Corey Woods. He said that Jaden Ivey looked like he lost like 10 pounds from that illness. So maybe, he's fighting his way back into not only like getting playing time, but, putting that weight that he lost during the sickness. It was good to see him out there, but like, that's the only positive I could really say. Stanley Amude too, leading the team in points tonight, a two-way guy, a guy that, plays with the Pistons and plays with the Motor City Crews. I mean, those were the only two positives that I could probably come away with in this like really bad loss, but that's the only thing I can really think off the top of my head. Do you have any positives with this game?
I was going to say Asar's defense, but we talk about that after every game. You could point to that, and that's a positive. I mean, probably my favorite part of the game was him forcing Gary Trent to travel. You know what I'm saying? Like, he seems to do that like once a game to a player. There was some moments where it seemed like the Pistons were getting Jaden Ivey in some action going downhill, which is something you and I have talked about. We saw that a lot when he was at Purdue. They'd get him coming off the left side, and as soon as he would turn that court, it's like he would slingshot to the basket, and then he'd get a pass, take one dribble, and then he'd be at the rim. It kind of looked like, especially in the last two games, it seemed like the Pistons were trying to get him in motion and in space to do that. It's just, I don't know if the timing's off or not. I don't know. Cade finished at the rim a couple times. He actually looked pretty confident attacking the rim, but he did settle a lot for mid-range jumpers, which I know that's his bread and butter right now. And he did have that one really nice transition three. I think you posted the highlight on your account, and then Stanley Amude, I'll say that was, he played well. Even James Wiseman, we'll just give him a shout out. He had 15 points. He got to the line 5 times. Yeah, that's about it. There really wasn't much more for me to look at and say, yeah, those are good. And I really feel like with the positives I just gave everybody, that's just me, grabbing at straws. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's not team, it's individuals. You have to look down the roster to see who played well. And we'd rather focus on a team positive than an individual positive because, individuals don't win the game. It's a team game at the end of the day.
Yeah, and I would rather point out the positives from the individuals if the team was more competitive or at least winning games. That feels better doing that, not doing it in a 29-point loss.